Hi, welcome back to another episode of Second ID. In the last episode, I was talking about how we slowly lose our intuition or intuitive ability to learn another language or languages in general as we adjust ourselves, our behavior to fit in our society of first language, our original culture. Our creativity dies with our trying to socialize with and interact with other people in the same society. Because there are rules to follow, whether it's a social rules or political policies or law, whatever it is, it's reflected through language. And we are learning that language as our first language. And at the same time, we have to adjust our behavior in order to survive and get along well with others in our country. So I'm gonna build upon that point. How exactly we kill our. We don't actually try to kill. We just it's a process of socialization, which begins when, especially when we start school. We the complexity of the language we are required to learn becomes much more sophisticated. We learn not only physical objects, the names of these things, materials, but also we are exposed to abstract ideas such as socialism, these different philosophical and political ideologies, and we learning we learn history through books though. Anyways, so we are exposed to different educational elements and features, and we are constantly asked to interact with our peers. So when we are together with others in a group, there are rules to follow, and these rules are mandatory, and there's no exceptions in the way we learn our first language. Although we all come from different households, we bring in and we bring in sort of our home language. There are some very distinctive features of the sort of language spoken in each house in our households, and we learn this different vocabulary from our peers and a variety of how things are expressed through our language. So that's very important because it will help us to learn these subtleties of the language, which is really difficult for non-native speakers of the language to pick up. So growing up, we interact with our same age, like-minded or not like-minded, whatever people there in your school. We do a lot of sports. We swear at each other. We fight, argue, with all kinds of things in this language. And through all that, we learn so much variety, and I mean, there's this such diversity in terms of vocabulary and the tone of voices, and we all bring in our own character as we speak this language to our the people around us. And now we are trying to learn another language not really having this sort of same opportunity to go through this, school years. And it sounds ridiculous actually to start all over again as an adult language learner. It's how would you fill in those gaps, right? Look at your what you got as learning materials, resources. What you got? One maybe tutor, private tutor, or maybe I don't know. Maybe you're taking online classes, whatever. But that's not really good enough. We need real interaction, right? You have to get outside and then interact with, talk to people, lots of different types of people, to pick up on that variety of the language and learn to catch the subtleties of the language, how people sound different when they speak, when they write. Yeah, all sorts of variations are really all the more confusing for us. So, in any event, school life broadens the horizons of linguistic fluency. There's no doubt about it. So, adding sophistication and richness to the extent of us being able to catch subtleties of the language. There's no really doubt about it. Because we are exposed to vast array of social networks and academic subjects. Our vocabulary expands exponentially, such wide range. In addition to everyday language, meaning that we compete to gain knowledge among our peers. So we are now, because we have the foundational level of being able to express ourselves now. I mean, now as you're in school, we start competing to gain more knowledge, and we're tested based on that, how much we know or how much we have memorized in certain cases. And it's not about learning the basics anymore in school. It's more about learning to remember or recall information so that we can present ourselves that we have studied, or we are able to recall information or regurgitate information through this educational system, which is quite obsolete in my opinion. Anyway, so we are fighting hard to gain more knowledge rather than acquiring our language, our first language in school. There's difference there, right? Linguistic fluency and I guess the worldly knowledge, how much you know about life and the world, right? And then so thinking about this or this afternoon, well, this idea, all these ideas I'm presenting to you here in this podcast based on my book Second ID. But as I think about what I have written, new ideas keep popping up, and the sort of idea that helps me to sort of clarify the things that have been puzzling my mind for a while. And then I got this idea: what if we are, as adult learners, what if we are in an environment where everyone in that place is willing to make mistakes, and understanding the importance of making mistakes, and we all encourage each other to make mistakes and learn from those mistakes in the absence of the pressure of taking responsibilities, because that's huge. Our adult circumstances, our grown-ups lifestyle are very limited at least it feels very limited because of this our responsibilities. Because this is a source of pressure and stress. Our jobs, financial pressure, whatever, or parental responsibility. All of these can really interfere with our learning process. So, but if you're the type of person who can actually, who are very resilient, who always acting like, or who can actually switch it on and off between, a child and an adult, to your advantage, whenever you feel like you or whenever you feel that, oh, if I were acting like a child right now at this moment, I would take great advantage of it, whatever the situation is we are in at the moment. And then in another moment, you might switch back to your adult self, thinking, oh well, in this social situation or settings, I should act more mature because of the people around me right now. So if you're really flexible as this person, the chances are you'll be very successful in, I guess, in all areas of life, not only in the acquiring another language. So